While October was one of the biggest months of video game releases in recent memory, November 2023 is no slouch either. While it doesn't have quite as many Game of the Year contenders, the following games will definitely be contenders for your holiday wish list. And it's not just games. We have new PlayStation hardware launching this month as well. Once again, it was excruciating to get this list down to just 10 entries, but here we go. We'll admit, when we first saw RoboCop Rogue City, we laughed at it. It looked like an attempt at a cheap cash-in on our 80s nostalgia. But now that we've actually played it, we couldn't have been more wrong. Instead, this brutally gory shooter is a near-perfect encapsulation of everything we loved about the franchise 40 years ago with a modern tech twist. It's campy, ultra-violent, and it has that comedic spark that makes you wonder if it's intentional or not. It's in line to be one of the most pleasant surprises of 2023. When EA bought Codemasters back in 2021 for $1.2 billion, we wondered if it overpaid. Sure, the F1 games were a hit in the past, but we struggled to see what else the studio could offer. Then, EA Sports WRC cruised into the starting grid. This rally racing game is the lesser-known cousin of Codemasters' other rally franchise, Dirt. The difference is that WRC is a more rigid rally simulation that typically includes less content, but a stiffer challenge. So, if you fancy yourself brave enough to fly across gravel roads at over 100 miles per hour, shift into first gear with confidence. It's only been 2 years since we played, and quickly forgot, WarioWare Get It Together. These minigame collections are usually released much further apart, so why are we receiving WarioWare Move It so quickly? Perhaps Nintendo is trying to save the franchise, after Get It Together received a lukewarm reception from critics and at retail. Or maybe Move It's renewed focus on multiplayer options is just too good to put off. Either way, we're prepared for another hilarious minigame explosion delivered at a breakneck pace, too fast for our little brains to comprehend. Smash Bros. Creator Sakurai recently stated that he's kind of run out of new ideas for the franchise. It's a good thing then that we keep getting Smash Bros. Clones from Nintendo's competitors. The latest to enter the ring, Nickelodeon's All-Star Brawl 2, collects all the greatest characters from our childhoods and shoves them into expansive arenas for some jump, stomp, and throw mayhem. Ren and Stimpy, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Jimmy Neutron, and so many others fill out this roster that could give you a wicked case of space madness. If you're like us, you looked around one day and said, "What the heck happened to my Yakuza games?" Indeed, the franchise has transitioned from hack-and-slash action games to RPGs over the last couple entries, but Like a Dragon Gaiden isn't afraid to look back. This old-school styled Yakuza spin-off lets you hack and slash to your heart's content while playing through a story that follows Kazuma Kiryu between Yakuza 6 and Like a Dragon 8. If you miss these types of games from Sega, be sure to support Like a Dragon Gaiden so they keep coming. Another year, another Call of Duty, right? Not so fast. While Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 does take a lot of inspiration from the original that was released way back in 2011, it's actually one of the more progressive entries in quite some time. For starters, the campaign includes open-world missions that give the player agency. This hasn't really happened since Black Ops 2. The Zombies mode has also been completely overhauled into an open-world experience unlike anything seen before. The multiplayer stays the course from Modern Warfare 2, but it will launch with over a dozen all-time classic maps before adding new ones as DLC. It also might end up being the final Call of Duty released on last-gen consoles, so pay extra close attention as its release date nears. The rumors were true, and PlayStation has 2 new pieces of hardware launching in November 2023. The first is the PlayStation 5 Slim. This new version of the PS5 is 30% smaller and comes with a disk drive or without. It also includes a 1TB hard drive and will replace the original model. Rumors claim it launches November 10th, but Sony still hasn't shared an exact date, which is a little strange. Then there's the PlayStation Portal handheld that allows you to stream gameplay from your PS5 either at home or on the road for $200. Keep in mind that it does not run games natively, but we do have a hard release date for Portal of November 15th. We don't include VR games in Dossier very often, but With a lot of you likely getting MetaQuest 3 for the holidays, we figured we'd recommend the best game for it. Ubisoft has supported VR all along, which helps it create better games for the various platforms. All that expertise is paying off with Assassin's Creed Nexus VR. This Quest exclusive is a first-person action game that features all the biggest stars from the Assassin's Creed universe. While its story will not be canon, if you're a big fan of the franchise, this game lets you actually live the Assassin's fantasy as you're completely absorbed into its world. Few publishers have wrung so much out of a single game as Atlus has with Persona 5. There have already been several spin-offs, but the latest, and likely last, is Persona 5 Tactica. While some of the offshoots were entirely different genres, Tactica is still a turn-based RPG, but with a strategy bent and a grid to consider. All your favorite characters and enemies are here, and while it's set during the same time period, Tactica actually tells an entirely different and separate story from Persona 5, so don't fear that you'll be retreading the same tired plot. There are literally hundreds of Nintendo games just sitting there begging to be remade, but few have been requested as often by fans as Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars. This legendary action-infused turn-based RPG from the SNES era still holds up to this day with its pixelated 2D sprites. Now Nintendo has given it a polygonal facelift for its release on Switch, along with tweaks to the timing mechanic that allows you to deal damage to more enemies at once. You can also build a meter to unleash a devastating triple character finishing move. The original doesn't really need a lot of changes, but Nintendo has been smart with its alterations. Well, that'll do it for our look at the biggest and best games worth buying in November 2023. There are dozens more for this month worth considering, but you won't uncover them on YouTube or Twitter. Head to sifted.net where we put games and you first. And if you like what we're doing, head to patreon.com/sifted and give us a monthly pledge if you can. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back next month to finish off 2023 in style.